So go ahead and get the things you need to support you. A little bit about Comeback Yoga. Comeback Yoga is a 501c3 not-for-profit. That's mission is to bring yoga to veterans where they are. I found Comeback Yoga through my now husband, who's my boyfriend or love interest at the time. And he brought me to Comeback Yoga at the Post One location on Santa Fe in Denver. And it was one of the best practices I ever had. So when I got my yoga teacher training certification, I knew that I wanted to teach for Comeback Yoga. Of course, that all happened right at the beginning of 2020. So online became a big priority for them, getting the yoga classes online and being able to have teachers teach online was a huge priority. And I thought, what a great way to be able to share my yoga practice with so many more people. So I immediately jumped on board and learned how to teach yoga online, which was not what I took my certification in, but it turns out this has worked out really, really well for me. And I'm really grateful for the people who went through the certification with me and really helped train me to understand how to teach to all sorts of levels. Because Comeback really, their mission is to be accessible and available and approachable. And that's what I hope my yoga does here for you today. So if you're joining me here live, you can put messages in the chat. If I'm going too slow or going too fast, let me know. I love the feedback I get. So also, if you want to, you can use music in the background in your space. YouTube obviously monetizes on any music that's played on this channel, so we can't play music in the background in this space, but you can play music in your space. I always recommend if you've got a smart speaker, you can ask it to play like yoga music or meditation music, just something ethereal that you're not going to really pay attention to, but might help you kind of, I don't know, there's something about music and yoga that works really well together. Helps your body move around a little bit. I think that we're conditioned to, dance when we hear music somehow. So there's just something about, the right kind of music and doing yoga. I mean, if ethereal music is not your thing, that is okay. If you like to do it to whatever, doo-wop or jazz or whatever's in your lexicon, then, do what makes you feel the most comfortable, makes you the most happy. Let's see, what else? Make sure you do go check out Comeback Yoga's YouTube page. There's a huge variety of classes, not just this one on there. So I encourage you when you're done with this class to go check that out. Check out their social network channels, so their Instagram and Facebook page, and again, their homepage, their website has all of the schedules for all of their classes that are both in person and online. So definitely go check that out too. They're really committed to really just bringing you yoga, free yoga, where you are, veteran or not, really, that's really kind of what they do. But really, we try to encourage our friends who are veterans to join us in this yoga program. We are also a trauma-informed yoga program, so we try to really just be accessible and keep it approachable, and consider trauma in our yoga positioning, and just consider it. Consider all people, and really be inclusive for everybody. That being said, today we're going to start on the floor, and if you're not comfortable being directly on the floor, I encourage you to get a pillow or something to bring the floor up to a position that is comfortable for you. So if you want a pillow or a blanket or whatever you need, like I said, to support you. And then we'll also be laying down on the floor, so if you're on a hard surface, you might want a little mat or a blanket below you at the end of class. Anything I provide you with here is merely a suggestion. You can follow my suggestions, or you can sit on the floor breathing the whole time. Either way, all of that's still yoga. The idea here is to gift yourself an hour, at least 1 hour each week for yourself. Just a little self-care, some stretching, some just inner thinking, a little bit of meditation maybe. You don't have to call it that. We can use different words, just sitting quietly maybe, letting your thoughts be still for a moment. All of those words are totally acceptable. However you need to frame it for yourself to make it productive. I know not all of us have a background or history with yoga. I came to yoga very late in life, and it's really helped me understand what's important and be able to sort through and deal with what's not in my life. So instead of reacting to everything, I take a minute, I take a breath, and I decide what I'm going to do instead of immediately reacting, which was kind of how I was before I introduced yoga into my life. I was also a lot younger. We tend to do that when we're younger. There's more hormones flying around. So as we get older, I feel like some of us get more well-adjusted. I mean, not everybody, but most of us. But yoga is one of those tools that helps us adjust to the stressors of life, that helps us take past trauma or past things that have happened to us and helps us categorize it and allows us to release it. So when I talk about the way we breathe in yoga, or when people talk about the way the breath is in yoga, and there's these deep inhales and giant exhales, and when they talk about those giant cleansing exhales, it took me a while to understand that what they were talking about was really about just grabbing everything that's inside of you that may be blocking you or being an obstacle or whatever that looks like, and letting it go. And how okay that is. Again, being able to take that time and that breath when you're in a situation where you're about to respond to something emotionally or maybe in a way that you don't want to, taking that breath for a minute. That big inhale, giant exhale. Even when you start a task, your body does it naturally. So all we're doing here is taking that natural inclination that your body's got to breathe deeply and cleanse your soul a little bit, and we're putting it with motion, kinetic motion, to kind of allow your whole body to bring something in, bring in the good stuff, and let go of the bad stuff. All that being said, if you've got questions for me, go ahead and put it in the chat. I'll respond at the end of class because I can't really see from this far back. Otherwise, we're going to get started here in about 3 minutes. If you see me looking at my phone, I do have a timer on it, so I know which segment of yoga I should be moving into. It just helps me with keep my flow in mind. Make sure you've got water or any other beverage you would like to have. If you need music, go ahead and start that now. We're going to get started here just at the top of the hour timer. And we'll start with in a seated position on the ground. It helps to have your knees below your hips, so that's kind of the position I'm in currently. Just allows you to kind of stretch out through your upper body a little bit more. And then we're going to move into a standing position. We're going to be doing some poses with balance and one-legged poses this morning. We'll move back down onto the mat or onto the floor for some final poses that are going to be on our back and maybe on our stomach a little bit. And then we'll finish in a final resting pose, during which I will give you some guided meditation. It'll just be a short little guided meditation. And always, as always, you can always play this back later. So if you're playing it back later, thank you. Thank you for coming back and fulfilling your promise to yourself to spend an hour today just for yourself, here with me, stretching. It's just you and me, or you, me, and whoever you have in the room, because there's nobody else here. So that's the great thing, is I can almost give private lessons here live on YouTube. A little bit what it feels like. I've been told it feels like doing yoga with a good friend. So that's exactly what I'm aiming for. And if you think that's the nail on the head, then let me know. Again, the feedback's always great. And that's about it. We're going to get started here. So if you want to be in a cross-legged position like this, that's great. You don't have to stay in this position. You can keep your feet out in front of you. Sorry, my feet are a little dirty this morning. I was cleaning the floor before I started. You can keep your feet out in front of you if you want. If that's more comfortable for you, you can have your butt on the ground. You can be seated in a chair. So just a seated position, whatever is most comfortable for you. I think you can even do it with your knees up if that's comfortable. And again, like, your knees don't have to be all the way down on the floor. It's okay for your knees to be up. You can also have blocks underneath your knees. It's important to support your practice by bringing the ground up to you if you're not comfortable being on the ground. Make sense? Great. And we're going to start with some breathing exercises this morning. We're going to go ahead and get started as it's the top of the hour. So these are going to be some deep breaths in Just arms down by our side. Big breaths out. And start to align your body as you breathe deeply in and out. Align your shoulders over your hips. Allow your knees to drop down below your hips if they can. If not, keep them supported. Either by tucking, you can tuck your ankles under there. Let your knees come up a little bit. But just stay tall through the crown of your body and keep breathing here. Deep breaths in and out. Just let yourself settle into this position, into this seated position. And when you're ready, on your next inhale, bring your arms above your head. Big inhale here. Exhale, dropping your arms down by your side. Shoulders down your back. Inhale your arms up into the air. Exhale your arms down by your side. Inhaling your arms up into the air. Exhaling your hands down by your side. One more time and inhale your arms up into the air. Exhale your arms down by your side. Go ahead and readjust if you need to. I forgot to start my timer, so let me do that really quickly. And timer started. We're going to do some big yeses and big nos here. So, big yeses. Just stretching your neck back and forth with your own breath. So you're making a big yes motion. Remember to stay tall through the crown of your head. Tall through your shoulders, allowing your shoulders to drop down your back. Really purposefully moving your head back and forth, chin up to the ceiling, chin down to the chest, chin up to the ceiling, chin down to the chest. And we'll move into some nose. So shoulder to shoulder, you're bringing your chin and looking slowly over each shoulder. From side to side, chin to shoulder. Big deep breaths here. Stay nice and tall through your spine and through your rib cage. Lifting up through your chest. Taking those nice deep breaths as you move your chin from shoulder to shoulder with your big nose. Big yeses. Think about the things you want to say yes to. Yes, I'm going to have an amazing day today. Yes, I'm going to purposefully smile just to get through the day. Yes, I will share a smile and look a stranger in the eye today. No, I'll not be slowed down by negative thoughts. Nope, I'm going to avoid the things that make me sad or make me feel uncomfortable. Nope. I'm not going to deal with somebody else's problems today, whatever that sounds like for you. Nope, I'm not going to get stressed out over all the things I have to do because there's nothing on my plate I can't accomplish. Give yourself a couple of compliments here. Say them out loud. It's okay. This is your hour for yourself. All right. Let's take a deep breath here. Grab some water, a drink, a slurp, whatever you need to do here. We're going to inhale our arms back up into the sky again. Exhale your hands back down by your side. Maybe you make your fingers really wide when you do this. Inhale your arms up into the sky. Stretch those fingers out. Exhale your hands down by your side. Inhale your arms up into the sky. Exhale your hands down by your side. And on this next inhale, we're going to bring our shoulders all the way up to our ears. Inhale, 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 grow really tall. Exhale, just release straight down your back. Inhale your shoulders all the way to your ears. Exhale your shoulders down your back. Just allow your shoulder blades to kind of drop down towards your ribs. Inhale your shoulders straight up to your ears. One last time. Exhale, shoulders drop down to your back. This time when we inhale our arms all the way up to the sky, we're going to exhale and take your arms out to a T. And we're going to do some little circles in the air with your arms straight out at a T. We're going to roll one direction first and then the other. So just kind of at your own pace, on your own time, and play around here with how big the circles are that you're making. Try to keep your wrists from going really far above your shoulders. Just try to keep them a little lower, even if you have to go a little bit lower. You can see here, this is a really kind of perfect outline I've got here of where the windowsill is behind me, because it's at about shoulder's length, so I can really tell where my shoulders are. You can also check by looking straight out. Make sure your shoulders are resting above your hips and you're staying nice and tall. Let's switch directions. We can make the circles really small, or we can make them really big. Just make them big downward. Does that make sense? Great job, everyone. Stay nice and tall. Breathe. Big breaths here. And release down by your side. Inhale your arms up into the air. Exhale your hands down by your side. Inhale your arms up into the air. Exhale your arms down by your side. One more time, inhale your arms up into the air. This time, take your left wrist and your right hand. You're going to stretch up first and then tilt. So you're almost stretching your whole upper body up, directly up into the air. You're bringing your belly, lower belly in towards your spine on that inhale, and then you're tilting to your right side. Just kind of popping your rib cage out on your left side. You're looking up towards your left elbow and you're stretching. You want to ground down through that left hip so it's not pulling up off the ground. Okay, so you want to leave that left hip on the ground. And you're just tilting. Staying nice and tall, keeping your body nice and lifted. Chest is lifted, chin is lifted. Everybody's looking up towards the sky. On your next inhale, let's bring those arms back up into the air. Switch hands. Stretch up first and then over. Looking up toward the sky. Taking some deep breaths here. Just tilting, keeping grounded through that right hip. Inhale, on your next inhale, both arms up to the sky, and then we're going to cactus our arms or make our arms into goalposts. Again, taking the shoulders straight out to the elbows, and then from the elbows to the wrist is a 90-degree bend. But you should just barely be able to see your hands in your peripheral vision. So if you look to either side, staying nice and tall through the crown of your head, just shift your eyes and see if you can see your thumbs or your hands. If you can, you might want to bring them back a little bit, maybe, if you can see them real well. If not, just leave them where they are. Inhale your arms up into the sky again. Release your arms down by your side. Let's go ahead and shake that out. Do a couple of shoulder rolls. So just roll your shoulders up to your ears and down your back. And then roll them the other direction. Up your back and down your front. Let's go back and forth a couple of times here. Rolling your shoulders up to your ears and down your back. Up to your ears and down your front. On the inhale, you're rolling them up to your ears. Exhale, you're rolling them down. Great job. And then just shake out your shoulders here. Shake out your arms. Let yourself get a little liquid. Get that done with. All right. From here, we're going to move into a seated position, and we're going to do a couple of different stretches in the seated position. Seated leg out position. A couple different stretches in the seated leg out position here this morning. We're going to first start with a seated forward fold, and then we're going to do a wide-legged seated forward fold. So I'm going to start this way first, just to kind of show you guys, just to kind of show everybody what this looks like from the side. It's a little hard to read this from the front or see this position from the front, so I figured it's a better idea to do it this way. Again, you can keep your blanket underneath your sacrum if you need to. Like I said, support any way of being that is most comfortable for you. Also, in this position, you can bend your knees. It's okay to bend your knees to reach forward, okay, if that helps you, especially if you've got back issues. So we're going to inhale up. I'll do it Flat leg first, and then we'll try it in a bent position. So you're really reaching up, 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 belly buttons to spine. You have a nice flat back, like you're holding a beach ball up here, and you're just allowing yourself to kind of tilt forward. And this is good right here, okay? You can bring your hands down. Just keep your back nice and flat. Hands can come here to your shins, just breathing. Nice tilt. Stretching your chin out maybe to like over your toes. That helps keep my back a little flatter. All right, and release. Here's the bent knee version. So if you've got, you can have your knees flexed or you can have them flat. It just depends on where you're at. Inhale, big reach up. Exhale, all you're doing is bringing your chest to your thighs. So you can even reach underneath here. And this is also good. Bring your chin out and just take a couple of breaths here. And bring your hands to the mat, or, if you want to cup your calves here, that works too. Whatever makes you comfortable. Again, try to keep a very flat back here. I'm not doing the best job. And release. Nobody's perfect though. Yoga's not perfect, and yoga will look very different in my body than it does in yours, so just keep that in mind. Now we're going to do a wide-legged one, so I am going to face the camera so you can kind of see what I'm doing here. So I've got my legs in a V, okay? And I'm just kind of settling into my body. So I'm like moving my butt around so that as I'm connecting to the floor, I'm feeling the support from the floor kind of push back into my body. So I want to kind of ground myself down a little bit first. Like we always want to prepare for the position we're going to put our body in before we actually get there. Really think about the alignment of your body in the position. Make sure you're nice and comfortable. And being here is fine. Your V may be smaller or larger in your legs, but it is what it is. It's where you feel comfortable. This is about where I'm comfortable. So now I'm going to inhale my arms up into the air. And I'm going to forward fold. Same idea here. Nice flat back. And I'm just reaching forward like I'm holding a beach ball. Flat back. Ooh. See, I wasn't flat enough. I had to tuck back. So we're just kind of stretching forward. We're going to release that back. And this time, we're going to reach up, twist, and we're going to do it over our left leg or right leg, whatever one you just twisted over. Same thing, flat back. So we're not coming all the way down to our leg. You're just like you're holding a beach ball and you're reaching. Reaching to like the person next to you to hand a beach ball to them. And release down. Same thing, inhale both arms up into the air. Grow nice and tall, twist, and then hand that beach ball to the person on your other side. Nice flat back. Just reaching out. And release down. And walk yourself back up. Let's bring our legs together. We're going to point and flex our toes. Okay. So legs long out in front of you. All right. Nice flat back still. You're still staying in this nice tall seated position here. Nice and connected and grounded into the floor. Keep your shoulders over your hips. And all we're doing is inhaling, flexing our toes, exhaling, pointing our toes, almost like you're blowing your toes over. Inhale, flexing your toes. Exhale, pointing your toes. We're going to do this about 5 times. So this is 3 with your own breath. 4 and 5. Great job. Let's roll over into a tabletop position. Take a drink, take a break, do whatever you need to do. We will meet up in tabletop position here. As always, if you've got sensitive knees or you have a knee injury, I encourage you to use a blanket or fold your mat over or just a pillow, something underneath your knees in tabletop position anytime you really put weight on your knees. So that means when you're in the garden, you should always have something underneath your knees or 2 things. You know, those little gardening Kneeling boards, yeah, those are great. You can also use those for yoga too. That's the great thing about those boards. Some of them are really cheap though. I highly recommend getting a decent one that's nice and thick, or piling up two of them, as the knees are something we need, especially later in life. So we're gonna come into a tabletop position, and we're gonna keep that nice tall body and that frame of reference here in the middle of our body as we're in a tabletop position. So try to keep your belly button in towards your spine as much as possible. I will try to do the same thing. Sometimes I struggle when I have to speak and tuck my belly button in, which is the struggle of the yoga teacher, of course. So learning how to hold your belly button into your spine while you're speaking, because most of us don't do that, it's like an operatic thing almost. I feel like. But I'm glad I've learned how to do it. Anyway, so we're aligning our shoulder directly above our wrists, our hips directly above our knees, feet are flat behind us on the floor. You can keep them flat down, or you can keep them curled under, your toes curled under, whatever's more comfortable for you. But find this nice foundation here in tabletop first. Play around with where your elbows are, and then really lift your lift your belly button up towards your spine, keeping a nice flat spine here. Take some big breaths and allow your body to kind of adjust to this position. Now we're going to move into some cat-cows. We're going to drop our belly down, releasing that belly button away from your spine, looking up toward the ceiling. For the exhale, let everything out. For the inhale. Breathe everything in and then push up through your spine, rounding up through your spine, dropping your chin down to your chest, exhaling for cat position. Inhale for cow, hips up, chin up, belly down. Exhale for cat, hips tucked in, spine is rounded up toward the ceiling, and you're pushing up through the palms of your hands. Inhale for cow, exhale for cat, inhale for cow, exhale for cat, inhale for cow, exhale for cat. One more. Inhale for cow. Exhale for cat. And this really helps warm up your spine. Come back into that neutral tabletop position. This really helps you warm up your spine for other points in the practice. But that position, the cat-cow, is a great thing you can do like during the week. If you watch me here on the YouTube channels, I always suggest you do legs up the wall when we get around to that. But cat-cow is another one. Like, you can just stop. If you've got a private place where you work during the day, or you're seated all day, take a minute during the day to stop, get on the ground, do a couple of stretches. You can even do cat-cow while you're sitting. So all you're doing is stretching forward and back. Maybe I'll introduce that next week in my practice. So just to kind of show you how to cat-cow in a seated position. So here we are, neutral tabletop. Didn't mean to leave you there. And we're going to do some balanced bird dog this morning. So we're going to be reaching out with our opposite leg and arm in front of us. Again, I just move my blanket around as the position really calls for me. Feel free to keep the blanket. You don't have to get rid of it. Again, make sure your belly button's in towards your spine. Create the nice stable foundation you need here in tabletop. And then let's drag our left foot out behind us, just straight out behind us. So you're making a nice straight line. Find yourself kind of redistributing your weight through the other points that are touching the ground. And when you're ready, lift up your right hand and reach out directly in front of you. Now, if this feels good and you feel like taking it into a balanced position, lift up that leg that's behind you and balance on the other 2 points that are touching the ground. You want to make yourself nice and straight here, so you're stretching from your heel all the way through your pinky. Like one long line, and stay lifted. And on your next exhale, bring it all back down to the ground. We're going to switch sides. So create that nice big tabletop or nice strong tabletop here first. Drag your other foot, opposite foot, out behind you. Lift your left hand up off the ground, opposite to whatever foot you just dragged out behind you. And you can stay here, or you can lift your leg up off the ground, making a nice straight line from your heel out to your pinky. Stay lifted here. And on your next exhale, bring it all back down to the ground. Great job, everyone. Bring your big toes to touch. Knees come wide on your mat. We're going to come into child's pose. If this is not a comfortable position for you, that's okay. You can stay in tabletop. We'll be back there in a second. Bring your head to the mat. Stretch your arms long in front of you. Your butt is going toward your heels, and you're kind of pushing your hips back towards your heels. Take 2 big breaths here. And then come back into your neutral tabletop position. 1 big breath there. And we're going to take our right leg up off the ground here, 90-degree angle, and we're just going to hold it. If you would like to, you can pulse it up. But mostly what we want to do is concentrate on keeping your hips square to the ground and staying balanced on the one knee while tucking your belly button up towards your spine and having a nice flat back. And release. Let's move it over to the other side. So flexed foot up toward the ceiling, nice 90-degree angle. Hips are square to the ground. And you're just holding and breathing. And return your knee down to the ground. Big toes to touch one more time. Bring your hips back towards your heels. Stretch your arms down your mat in front of you. Down on the floor in front of you. And breathe. And let's come back into that neutral tabletop position. I'm going to move into a standing position through a downward facing dog. If that's not a position that is comfortable for you, that's okay. I'll guide you through it, and if you want to take it, that's fine. Otherwise, we're going to wind up in a standing forward fold. So you can meet us there, or you can meet us in just standing and take some cues and catch up to where we are. So just, do what feels great in your body. And I'll show you, a creative way to get from tabletop position into standing. So from here, you'll take a nice deep breath. On your exhale, inhale, exhale, push your hips up into the sky and drop your heels back down toward the mat. If you need to stretch your legs apart or move your feet apart, that's okay. Bend your knees if you need to. You're bringing your chest back toward your thighs. And you're kind of grounded in through the palms of your hands and the soles of your feet. Those are your 4 points that are touching the ground. Let them be supported by the ground. Take a big breath here. Maybe pedal out your feet. Just find a minute to be familiar with this position, if nothing else. Inhale, look forward towards your hands. Exhale, you're going to walk your feet up towards your hands or your hands towards your feet slowly. And now we're in a forward fold. Bring the crown of your head toward the ground. You can bend your knees here. In fact, I encourage you to keep a micro bend in those knees to help support your body's weight and balance. Big inhale and exhale here. Allow your hands to just kind of dangle towards the mat. If you're already touching the mat, you can also bring your hands up behind your head, elbows out. Maybe clasp them behind your head, let them be there. You can also take a palm to either elbow. Just allow yourself to kind of dangle here. This also helps decompress your spine. You can have some movement in here if you'd like to. And when you're ready, heel toe your feet mostly together. Okay. You can keep a nice bend in those knees. We're going to inhale to a halfway lift. Nice flat spine, like you're looking over the edge of something. Exhale, forward fold. And then on this inhale, we're going to come up to standing one vertebrae at a time, starting with your lowest vertebrae, and the head comes up last. And here we are in a standing position. Go ahead and adjust as needed. Shake out what you need to shake out. I'm going to come over here and get a big drink. I definitely have mornings when I do that and I get to the standing position and I am suddenly very dizzy. So if that's happening to you, it happens. Just take your time. You don't have to necessarily bring your head back down again. So do what feels comfortable for you. If you need to sit down, if you just need to stand here for a minute and breathe and kind of clear yourself up, that's okay too. You're doing great. If you're here and you're just breathing and sitting on the mat, still yoga. That's the great part because you're still dedicating that 1 hour to yourself. So let's go ahead and get comfortable with standing. So, spend a lot of our time either sitting or standing in life, right? We're either sitting at our desks working a lot of the time, a lot of us. The rest of us are standing while we're working. And as we get older, we forget how to hold our bodies. We get really lazy about it, unless we're professional athletes or we're really into like body, acknowledgement. So some of us get lazy. It's okay. It's a thing humans do. But in order to combat a lot of the age-related accidents that we can have or damage we do to our body, understanding where our body is in space when we're standing, even in line at the store or at work or whatever that looks like, will help prevent injury. So we're going to work on standing today. So really just feel where your feet are on the floor. Allow like each part of your foot to kind of line up with the floor if it can. Find that stability between your bottoms of your feet and the floor. Maybe even wiggle your toes around, lift your toes up. Let them go down, kind of scrunch into the floor, wiggle your toes around there. Create that really great sense of balance. All of a sudden you'll feel like, oh yeah, I can totally stick to the floor, right? When you've got that feeling, sensation, whatever, when you're ready, align your knees over your ankles and then your hips over your knees, shoulders over your hips. So now you're nice and tall. Get that spine to grow a little bit. Maybe push up through the crown of your head toward the ceiling. Engage through your center part, through your core, allowing yourself to stand really nice and tall and feel very supported from the crown of your head all the way to the soles of your feet. You've created a nice tall body here. Inhale your arms up into the sky. Exhale them down by your side. Inhale your arms up into the sky. Keep that nice tall body. Exhale them down by your side. This is mountain pose. Inhale your arms up into the sky. Allow them to drop down by your sides. Hold the palms of your hands so they're facing forward. Roll your shoulders up to your ears and let them drop down your back. And realign your body one more time. For me, that always means tucking my butt underneath me. Bring my hips really underneath my shoulders. I kind of sway out naturally. That's just my natural body position. But anatomically, it should the alignment really should be here. So that's what I'm saying is that we, eventually we slump over or we sway out. And it's nice to use our muscles, or tiny, tiny little muscles in our body, right, to bring our body back into that correct alignment. So breathe some breaths here. Into this nice alignment. I'm going to step back on my mat a little here. Inhale your arms up into the sky. Stay nice and aligned as we take our left wrist and our right hand. We're going to do that same tilt we did sitting on the ground. So we're just tilting, still grounding down through your hip. You're not leaning, okay? You're just tilting, okay? Tilting out through your side body. It's almost like you want to tilt out through this part of your body, from your armpit to your ribs. And push out that way. Inhale, both hands back up into the sky. Switch hands. And tilt. We want to reach up first and then tilt. Staying grounded through your hips. Tilting slightly. Inhale, both arms back up into the sky. Exhale for cactus arms or goalpost arms. And then inhale both arms up into the sky. Bring your hands down through heart center. So bring your palms of your hands together and just bring them down in front of your face and to your heart. And then release. Shake that off, let that go. We're going to move into a couple of balancing positions now this morning. And I'll show you a couple of different versions of a couple of balancing positions you can play around with. I encourage you to play around. You don't have to do what I'm doing. Again, yoga looks very different in my body than it does in yours. And my balance this morning will be different than it was yesterday. One side of my body may be different from the other. I mean, we'll see. This is all an hour to see where my body's at this morning. So the first one we're going to do is airplane or warrior 3. So we'll come into our nice tall, aligned, right? Mountain pose. Shift your weight into one foot or the other and drag the weightless foot back behind you, staying nice and tall. Growing nice and tall through the crown of your head. If you want, you can lift your arms up into the air first and then just start to tilt. Bring that foot up off the ground, or you can just bring your hands out in front of you and start to tilt from here. You don't have to tilt all the way down, okay? The idea is just to be as straight as you can from your heel to your hands. You can just tick over like a clock if you need to. That's what I need to do. Stay lifted and release. Try it on the other side. A weird bump. Try it on the other side. So get nice and tall for mountain pose. Drag the one foot out behind you. Reach your arms up into the air. We'll just tick like a clock. You can put a micro bend into that balance leg. That helps. Keep a nice flexed foot. Try to stay nice and straight. And just see how far you can go. You can always keep this foot on the ground too. Whatever works for you in your practice. And release. So that was that. We're going to move into tree position now. And I'll show you a couple of variations of tree. All right. So let's once again come into that nice tall mountain pose. Palms are facing forward, or they're here at heart center, together at heart center, whatever feels good to you. You're going to bring your weight into one foot or the other. I'm going to start on my right foot, bring weightlessness into my left foot. Maybe, I'm shifting my hips, I'm shifting my weight, trying to find a way to be on one foot first, right? I'm setting that foundation for success. And then I'm going to bring that weightlessness in. I'm pointing my knee out. My left knee is pointing out from my body. And I'm just hanging here for a minute. So this is tree pose. With your hands out by your side, foot is on your ankle. You can move your foot up to your calf. The sole of your left foot is on your right calf. Or it can be above your right knee on the inner thigh. Just keep it off your actual knee. So this is tree pose. This is one expression of it. You can have your hands down by your side. You can bring your arms up in the air. You can bring your foot anywhere along your leg except for your knee. Release back down to the ground. Let's go ahead and shake that out. Try it on the other side. And, if you're here today, one toe on the ground, your heels on your ankle, knees pointed out, this is a great version of tree. You can grow nice and tall here, or you can start moving your foot up your leg to where it feels comfortable. Find a spot and, play around with it. If you fall over, it's okay. There's a ground there to catch you. And you can always try again. Go ahead and shake that out. Thank you for experimenting with me. We're going to move it back down to the floor. We're going to do a couple of stretches, and then we'll end class with a short meditation. We're about or a little more than halfway through class now. So we're going to move back down onto the ground, again, through a downward facing dog and then a plank position. If you're not comfortable with those positions, that's okay. You can try them out and just meet us on the ground. We're going to be belly down first. We're going to do some cobra stretches. I hope to maybe squeeze a pigeon stretch in there this morning. And then we will do a couple of stretches on our back, and we'll move through some other positions, and finally, and legs up the wall, and then we'll wind up in a final resting pose. So I'm going to start on this side of the mat. I'm going to come into mountain pose first. Inhale my arms up into the sky. Exhale my hands through heart center into a forward fold. Crown of the head down towards the ground here. Nice forward fold. Halfway lift. On the inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, we're going to bring our hands out in front of us. We'll come into downward facing dog here. So just, take a moment here in downward facing dog. Pedal out your feet, whatever feels good to you. Take a breath. Big inhale, and on your exhale, we're going to come into a plank pose. So maybe bring your toes out behind you first, and then lower down into a plank. Hold it here for a moment, and then lower down to the ground slowly. Great job, everyone. Now we're down on our bellies. We're going to move some of the stuff around here. We're going to come into a cobra pose, so bring your feet together behind you. Zipper up your feet. Chin to the mat, arms down by your body, zipper up your feet. I'm sorry, you can bring your left cheek or your right cheek to the mat right now. And just let your body rest here for a second, actually, before you start zippering up your feet. Give yourself a little rest, a breath. Chance for your maybe back to readjust, your hips to readjust. Okay, now zipper up your feet. From your toes to your heels, from your heels to your knees, knees up to your butt. Zipper it all up like it's one unit. Now bring your hands directly underneath your shoulders, chin to the mat. And on your inhale, take a big inhale here, and on your exhale, you're going to push up through your upper body, lifting, sliding your shoulders down your back, bring your elbows in. Big inhale here, just looking over the edge of your mat, pushing your feet down into your mat. One more big inhale in, exhale and release. And just let that go. Next, we're going to bring our elbows underneath our shoulders, so we'll lift up through our upper body. Elbows are underneath shoulders, hands are directly on the mat, flat in front of us. For cobra pose, your legs can be apart or together. It's up to you in this one. And this is about very, very tiny movements in your body. So, we can hold ourselves up like this, right? But if you engage your belly button and your lower abdomen, and then start to pull your elbows back towards your ribs, keeping your chest up, kind of shining your chest out, you can really feel a stretch right around your belly button, or at least that's where I feel it. Take some deep breaths here. And release back down to the mat. Let's go ahead and bring ourselves into a tabletop position. Maybe stretch back first. We are going to do one pigeon pose, so if you can, go ahead and pop yourself up into a downward facing dog. If not, you can do this from tabletop. Bring your foot back behind you. Ooh, I got a window behind me. Foot back behind you. Inhale, exhale. Bring your right knee to your right wrist. Stretching your left leg directly up behind you. And just find a way to get kind of comfortable in this position. This will help stretch out your hips. You can use a block or any sort of support, your blanket here. You can put it underneath your hip here. You can do whatever you need to do with it. Just give your hips a nice little stretch here. Try to keep your knee, I don't know, like directly in front of you by your wrists. If it is comfortable for you, you can bring yourself down onto the mat here. For sleeping pigeon. But if this is not comfortable for you, or if this really hurts, don't do this. It's okay. You know, you're not proving anything to anyone. You can just hang out, seated position right now, or do some forward folds, or just find another way to be for the moment. But when you're ready, return the palms of your hands to the ground. Tuck your back foot under, tuck your back toes under, and then lift up through that leg. Bring it back down on the ground. Now, if you're in tabletop position, obviously you're coming up like this, and then it's not obvious, I guess, and then sliding out. So you're just kind of doing it from the ground instead of from downward facing dog. But I'm going to continue to do it from downward facing dog here, just to show you. So I'm here first, okay? Down dog kick, left leg high, and I'm slowly bringing my left knee and my left wrist this time, wiggling it out so that my right leg is directly out behind me. Just allowing the weight of my body to kind of stretch my hip here, come down onto my hip. Keep that the foot that's tucked underneath you, keep that foot flexed. It just keeps the knee protected to do that. Like I said, if you're comfortable with it, come on down to the mat. Or you could stay upright on your palms, nice and supported. When you're ready, you can tuck that toe back under, push back up into either three-legged dog or tabletop position. If you're in three-legged dog, come on back into downward facing dog. Inhale here. Exhale, look forward and drop, and exhale. Look forward and drop down into a tabletop position. Great job, everyone. Get a drink. We're going to roll onto our backs for some back stretches. Just checking my time and my timer. Great. All right, so let's lower down onto our backs. We're going to do one bridge here. So again, bring your shoulders, arms down by your sides. Bring your shoulders like kind of underneath your chest, if you can, kind of tuck in there. Feet can be wherever they feel good in relative to the bottom of your body here. I like to keep mine out a little further. It just prohibits my knees from going over my toes, which can lead to injury. So just be aware of that. Big inhale here. On the exhale, lift your hips up toward the sky. Hold here for 2 breaths. And then slowly lower down. Great job, everyone. Go ahead and relax your shoulders back flat onto the ground. Maybe bring your hands to your rib cage. And we're going to windshield wiper our knees from side to side. So we're just taking our knees to either side of our body, allowing them to drop. Big breaths again. Let's take the soles of our feet, bring them together to touch. Drop your knees wide. Allow them to open wide. And then if you'd like, you can bring one hand to your stomach and one hand to your heart, or you can just hold both hands around your ribs, near your rib cage. Or both hands can be down by your sides as well. Whatever feels good to you in this position. Try to work on it so that your lower back is on the floor. Here, head should be on the floor, your shoulders should be on, everything should be touching the floor on your back. You can play around with how far your feet are from the bottom of your body in this position as well. And when you're ready, take your hands to either thigh and close them like a book. Bringing your knees up into your chest, and with your shoulders and head on the floor, give yourself a nice big hug. or a little roll around here, allowing your body to kind of roll back and forth on your spine. Big inhale here, and on your next exhale, push your feet up toward the ceiling. You can keep a nice little bend in the knee if that's more comfortable for you, but your feet should be flexed up toward the ceiling. This is legs up the wall, and I'm going to give you my spiel about it, as I do every Friday. Legs up the wall is a great position for those of us who sit or stand a lot during the day. It encourages recirculation from your feet down into your heart, from the blood and fluids in your feet back into your body. And it helps just kind of create a different perspective for our bodies to be in, for our heads to be in, for our minds to be in. It's not often that we put ourselves into this position, though. If you think about it, if you turn yourself upright, especially with a bent knee right here, what would you be doing? You'd be sitting. So this is just sitting, but like we're on our backs. Very natural position to be in. And I encourage you to take this for 30 seconds or a minute before bed each night and see if you've got like swollen feet or ankles, that should help improve it. You can take this position. Again, you can do this on a pillow. You can do this in your bed. It's one of those positions. You can actually do it against a wall if you need the support. So use this position as you need to really support the recirculation in your body. Also, if this is really uncomfortable for you, if you've got really tight hamstrings or anything like that, you can also kind of come out at a 90-degree angle here. If you've got a wall to push up against, that's great too, with your feet. Otherwise, you can leave your legs up into the air. We have about another 10 seconds or so here. Just hanging in this position. And release it back down on the ground. We're going to do one more stretch, and then we're going to go into our final resting pose. So we're almost at the end of class. Let's go ahead and take ourselves into a nice, long, what I call morning stretch. Oh, just kind of stretch from head to toe, whole body stretch. Hands above our head, feet really stretching out. I'm actually touching the wall with my feet. Go ahead and bring that back in. Knees into the chest. Give yourself a nice big hug. Take one knee and just kind of hug it into your chest. Stretch out long with your opposite leg. When you're ready, take a big inhale and an exhale. And stack your hips as you roll onto your side. Make sure one hip is sitting directly above the other. Your top knee is bent, bottom knee is long, and you're looking back with both shoulders on the ground towards your opposite hand behind you. For a supine twist. And we're going to release this back by bringing both knees back into our chest. Give yourself a nice little hug, a roll around. Grasp one knee. Stretch the other leg long. Big inhale and exhale here. Bring your hips stacked, knee across your body. One knee is long. Stretch out your arms. Twist back and look at the arm that's behind you. Flex feet. And breathe here. And when you're ready, hug both knees tightly into your chest. Bring your chin up toward your knees. Give yourself a nice giant hug. Big inhale here. Exhale and release. For final resting pose. Now, while you're here in final resting pose, I want to remind you that it's okay to not lie on your back in final resting pose. You can keep your knees bent, feet flat on the ground, or you can be rolled onto one side or another if that's more comfortable for you. Please find the final resting pose that is the most comfortable for you, and go ahead and take that. I'm going to work my way back up into a seated position here so that I can give you a gentle guided meditation, or a mini guided meditation here at the end of practice. So we'll do a little meditation here. And then we will end practice just at the top of the hour. guided meditation. Let's go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths here. Just breathe. Try to clear your mind if you can. As you're clearing your mind, find something to bring into your imagination or your mind's eye. Taste, texture, color, smell, whatever that is. Something that stimulates your senses and makes you happy. Doesn't have to be a memory necessarily. It can be color. Your favorite color. Maybe it's a happy place. Maybe it's a made-up place that you go to in your head. Flowers, whatever that is. Just try to bring that image or that sensation in the forefront of your mind and focus on that. You can shut your eyes or you can keep them open. That's up to you. Depends on you and your space. Now let's take a couple of deep breaths with that memory and that sensation, or that image right at the forefront of your mind. For me this morning, it's the smell of chocolate chip cookies baking on a crisp fall morning. That's what I'm picturing in my head. It's just my favorite thing in the world. Like the smell of baking anything is wonderful. But then with the crisp, clear blue sky, so that's what I'm picturing, and those bright red maple leaves against that sky. So I'm picturing colors. And this is not a real thing, but I'm just making this up in my imagination. I can see every chocolate chip in that cookie. And I can smell those cookies baking, and it's just making me happy. So I'm breathing right into that memory. And I'm kind of envisioning that memory, that image. And I'm envisioning that image kind of floating like kind of right here above my head. And I'm allowing it to kind of come into my forehead space, just envelop me. So I'm going to take the color that I like the most from this image that I've conjured, which is that bright blue sky. And I'm going to start to surround myself with that color. I encourage you to find something in your image and do the same, whatever it is. If it's a texture, that's great too. Start surrounding your head with that texture. And with each inhale, make that image stronger in your mind's eye. And with each exhale, spread relaxation and that color, that imagery over your body, starting from the crown of your head. Let's bring that relaxation, that imagery into our forehead, our mind's eye, into our eyes, so we can almost see it, into our nose. Maybe we can smell it, maybe we can taste it on our taste buds. Go ahead and take your tongue and allow it to drop from the roof of your mouth. Relax your jaw and your ears. Relax your throat. Relax your shoulders. Bringing that relaxation from that imagery from your head all the way down through your shoulders and your arms. Allowing that relaxation to drip down your arms into your elbows and then into your lower arms and into your wrists. One more big inhale, and on your exhale, let that relaxation really envelop your whole upper body, your hands, the palms of your hands, the tops of your hands, each finger. Now breathe that relaxation down into your chest, into your ribs, and into your hips. One big breath here. And we'll continue to envelop our bodies from the crown of our head all the way down into our hips in the relaxation and the imagery you've chosen for yourself. Allow it to come into our organs, drop down into our organs, and release tension. Replace it with relaxation. Deep breaths in, big exhales out. One more deep breath, bringing that relaxation from your hips down into your thighs, down into your knees, and into your shins and calves. Relaxing your whole body from the crown of your head down through your shoulders and your ribs, your hips, into your thighs, and into your calves. Finally, bring your relaxation from the crown of your head down into your ankles and into the soles of your feet and into each toe, one toe at a time. Bring that relaxation from the crown of your head all the way down to the soles of your feet. With each breath, surround yourself with the imagery that you've created in your mind's eye. And relax. I'll give you another couple of seconds of relaxation here. I apologize, the cicadas just started up, so if you can hear them in the background. Yeah, it's going to be a warmer day here today. That's what that means. Surround yourself with that pleasant feeling that you've created for yourself here today. Remember, if you can do it here and on this mat, you can do it everywhere else. You can bring it with you. And as you're ready, let's go ahead and bring some motion into the tips of your toes and into the tips of your fingers. Allow some rotation at the ankles and at the wrists, waking ourselves back up. Slowly rolling ourselves onto our sides, maybe using our bicep as a pillow. I didn't think of that word earlier either. Bicep forearm as a pillow. Just relaxing here for a moment. And as you feel your day calling to you, you go ahead and come into a seated position. If you've got your eyes open, you can blink open your eyes here. Thank you, everyone, so much for practicing here with me today. Let's take one more or a couple more breaths together. So inhale your arms up into the sky one more time. Exhale your hands to heart center here. Let's do that again. Scooping your arms up into the sky. Exhaling your hands to heart center. And one more time. Inhaling your arms up into the sky. Exhaling your hands down to heart center. One big breath here. On an inhale and an exhale, I say to you, have an amazing day. I hope you have a great day and a great weekend. Thank you again for joining me. This and every Friday that you do join me is just an amazing opportunity for us to get together and practice yoga. This gentle stretching and little meditation there at the end. Always looking for feedback, so please do. Feel free to comment here. I'm up close to the screen so I can see anything if you want to type it in now. But otherwise, I will see you next week. We're going to be coming to you live from Colorado next week. So I'll be back there one more week, and then I'll have a week off, and then I'll be back after that week in this space. So, and as the seasons change and the weather changes, so will the yoga. I will try to incorporate some new stuff into each practice as the months go by. So I just look forward to practicing with everyone. If anybody's got some notes for me, feel free to go ahead and put them in the chat if you need to. Otherwise, we're going to sign off here in about a minute. And it's great practicing with everyone this morning. I look forward to this every Friday. And I'm just so happy to be here and a part of Comeback Yoga's team. Go check out more Comeback Yoga classes and in person and available online on their website. Check out their Instagram, Facebook page, and definitely check out more YouTube videos here. Like and subscribe and share with your friends, because the most important thing here is and I don't know why more people don't take advantage of this. It's free yoga. It's free yoga for all levels, for all walks of life. And you can share it with your friends. So if you live on one side of a country and they live on another, and you guys want to do yoga together, here's a way to do it. I know I really appreciate having this opportunity to do yoga with my friend who lives in Canada and tunes in from time to time. I miss her very much. She was one of the first people I knew who did yoga to help heal pain. So her journey really was what inspired me on mine. And if she's watching, thank you for your inspiration. She knows who she is. Otherwise, to the rest of you, I'll see you all next time. Thank you for joining me here on Come Back Yoga today. Gentle stretching.